I'm hopefully everyone had a chance to look over the memo that I sent around just for the agenda. Rashida, you have yours, right? Okay, great. Any questions then?
We're recording, so whenever you guys want to go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. This is a really, trying time for a lot of us, especially our moms and caregivers across the district. And so we wanted to just take a few moments to connect with our moms and caregivers in the district and really just share out tips and tricks and resources to help us kind of, explore this new normal for ourselves. And so we really appreciate everybody for joining in, especially to our special guest speakers, which I'll introduce a little bit later. But I think we just kick it off and hear some opening remarks from Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
Thank you so much, Larissa Richardson, our phenomenal district director. Thank you all to the moms listening in, parents. We even got some folks, some dads that have reached out about some of the challenges. We just hope that that you're, at the end of this town hall with all these incredible moms, very busy moms, that there's some encouragement that you're not alone. And even sharing some of our experiences and various tips that will help you get through the everyday challenges that we're facing as many of us as working moms and moms at home. And again, we just want to make sure that you all have the support that you need. So with many parents forced to face the challenges of educating children at home as a result of the pandemic, and in addition to the number of other responsibilities, and there's a huge concern about the emotional and professional impact of this pandemic on many of us. The virtual town hall event that we're doing tonight, and I'm so glad to have these incredible women and moms with us, we are going to try to bring the parents and the legislators ourselves together to provide all of you updates on the ongoing relief bill, but also about tips for parents, as well as things that we can do for children and how to cope with this, again, very challenging time in at home schooling, but also, just the anxiety that many of us are facing with the unknown with this pandemic. And so I'm just so thrilled to have all these incredible women, again, moms out there sharing this. I know sometimes it means being incredibly vulnerable and talking about those challenges, especially as public servants. But I'm hoping, again, that all of you, as you listen into this, that you again feel less alone and also very much supported and heard and seen by many of us that are, again, our moms serving in the various levels. So with that, I again thank you so much to my team who does an incredible job to put all this together. And again, for all of the folks joining us, I really appreciate you being with us.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Tlaib. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and hear from our incredible panelists. I'm really excited for, to hear about the experiences and the stories from these amazing women within our district. So first we'll have Michigan State Senator Stephanie Chang, who represents Senate District 1. She's an advocate for a number of different social justice issues, including moms and caregivers across Michigan. So, State Senator Chang.
Thanks, Larissa, and thanks, Congresswoman Tlaib. It's so great to be here, and good to see Commissioner as well as Danielle and Brie'Ann. So thanks for inviting me to be part of this. I'm Stephanie Chang. I am a state senator for Detroit and Downriver, and I have a 5-year-old and a 16-month-old. So in a couple months, the baby, well, she's a toddler now, will have spent half her life in this pandemic and on Zoom and everything. So that's fun. But Sonia earlier about, I guess, how long has it been? I guess it's been a little over a month now. Started kindergarten, so we are doing virtual, I think we're sort of like getting into the rhythm, which is good. But, I think I share a lot of I just remember, leading up to the first day of school and that first week, especially, hearing from so many parents about, hearing about, like so much screen time and how do we keep our kids focused, and just like the juggling of school, their school and our work, and just everything. But I think we're hopefully starting to figure some of that out. Part of the additional challenge is that, I'm home some days, but then other days have to go to the Capitol. So then we have some help to make that all work out. But basically just really, hello! Excited about the babies, excited about this event, excited to really actually hear from Brie'Ann and Danielle about your experiences and your tips, because I feel like I could use some tips, definitely could. So looking forward to that. One of the things that I think has been kind of cool is that I feel like now a few weeks in, at least Sonia's teacher has, first of all, she's like so patient. It's incredible, and she's a great teacher. But I feel like we're starting to get the rhythm of all the different apps and stuff, like Classroom Dojo and all these things. Anyway, so but I think that finding ways to communicate with a teacher is really important. So that's my only tip that I can provide, because I'm still learning and I'm like a new, mom of a kindergartner. So, but like I for one example is like, because I'm not always there all the time, I don't sometimes know like what is the homework that Sony's supposed to do. So I was like, so I made that suggestion to the teacher yesterday of like, just because we're not always sitting right there, if she can let us know. So she started doing that. So just finding ways to communicate, and also just like take some deep breaths, and know that for me, she's learning. She may not learn every single bit of what is supposed to be there on paper, but she's learning, and I think she's having fun, and just trying to make the best of it, and also like setting realistic expectations for the year, I think is going to be really important, so that we're not pushing ourselves too hard and also not pushing our children too hard, because we need to make sure that they are doing well, not just academically, but mentally and emotionally, and obviously physically as well. So those are the most important things. So so thanks for having me on, and I'm excited to hear from our experts.
Thank you so much, Senator Chang. We really appreciate not only you being here, but also being transparent and honest. I think that, this is a safe space, right? And that, it's so important to hear about the stories of others, moms, caregivers who are also experiencing the same things and might be afraid to talk about them openly. And so I feel like this is just a really great space to kind of be able to talk about those things and support each other, because we're all, again, just adjusting to a new normal. Not myself, because I don't have any children at home. We're all adjusting to a new normal.
Her husband will really get upset when I said, no, yes, you do. If you have a husband.
That's right. That's right.
I can
That's
attest.
Right. That's right. That's more than enough for me right now. So again, we're really excited to hear from our next panelist, Wayne County Commissioner Monique Baker-McCormick. She's an advocate at the county. She's been serving the residents in her district, District 6, for the Wayne County. And so she's just an amazing, public servant, and really passionate about serving her residents. So Wayne County Commissioner Monique, thanks for joining us. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, there we go. Thank you so much, Larissa, for inviting me. And of course, to my Congresswoman, Rashida Tlaib, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor and a pleasure to have this conversation with you ladies. And I don't know if we have someone's on the line here, a gentleman, I don't know. But this is such an important discussion because education is everything. It's important to all of us, and we want to make sure that our children gets the best in this COVID times, we still want to focus on education. And as a former president of several of the parent organizations in my district, from Cass Tech to Ludington Middle School, as well as John R. King, you know, I've always been there trying to make sure that we get what we deserve in our community. And as a parent of two, I have two daughters. My daughters are adults now. And so I understand the challenge of being a single parent at home. And of course, I didn't have to deal with COVID, but I did have to deal with just managing children and their schedules and your time and their time, and making sure that there's that quality time there, not just always nagging our children all day long. We of course can't do that, but because you are at home more now, and they're doing a lot from the computer, I would say that the safety of them using the computer is one of the important things that you have to look at. And I'm not sure, Danielle or Bree, I know I've met your children before, but I'm not sure of their ages now, but you know, that's always important, safety, because we do have a lot of predators out there looking to try to get information from our children. And so I think that conversation needs to be had with your children, in addition to making sure that you have certain security blocks on your computer to protect them from any situations like that. In addition, when you're not using your computer, it is always recommended that you put tape over the lens, because people can, you know, they have the technology to tap into your computer and to look at what you're doing without you even knowing it. And especially if your computer is like in the bedroom or something like that, you want to be very careful of that. And then the other suggestion, as far as getting into a daily routine, I know that can be sometimes difficult being at home, and you may have to work, or you might have a partner or a spouse there. But there needs to be some routine that they get, you know, comfortable with. So if it's, you know, you wake up just like you're going to school, you maybe even dressing for school like you're going to school, gives your children a sense of comfort. You know, it's a habit, and sitting down at the computer at a certain time, maybe eating at a certain time, all of that will be helpful to them in building in a daily routine. And then the other thing I think is really important is once you have that routine in place, you have to make sure that they are also organized. So you have a place to sit, you have a time to be there, but then you have all of the tools that are needed to do their assignments and work. So that might be making sure you have all of the paper, your pens, calculators, all of those resources that they need to have access to right away. And that, again, creates a routine of structure and making sure that your child can easily adapt to this new normal. So those are some of the things that I would suggest for children as they learn at home.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Baker-McCormick. We really appreciate, one, you for being here, but then two, also for sharing those sort of really important tips that I think we might take for granted in this type of moment in time, right? Like just, getting up and getting dressed as if you're going to school, or, having some of those tools for learning accessible for the students that might be at home and practicing virtual learning. So, I think all of those things are things that we might forget about or take for granted because, again, we're still adjusting to this new normal. So one, thank you so much for being here. And so now we'll have remarks from our next panelist, who is just an awesome, amazing woman, resident of the district. She's also a business owner, Danielle North. She's the owner of and founder of Kidz Kingdom, which is a child care center in Detroit in the 13th Congressional District. She's an education consultant, so she's had tons of experience and work in assisting a number of different schools and strategizing for schools. And on top of all of that, she's a mom first, right? And just awesome person all the way around. So now we'll hear remarks from Danielle North.
Thank you so much for that very, very kind introduction. I really appreciate it, Larissa, and kudos right back to you. Thank you for all of the hard work you've done. And since I've been in the district, you've been instrumental and supportive. And so I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, for this opportunity. It is truly an honor to sit with Commissioner, Senator, and fellow resident Brie'Ann as well. And so, I really appreciate the vein that the other moms and leaders are speaking from, because I actually thought I was going to be, a little bit out of the box. One second. Thought I was going to be a little bit out of the box with my direction that I was going to give, because this has been the stance that I have taken in this very difficult time, which has really been to fall back. And I'm a helicopter mom, okay? I am the one who is like, my kids have to learn, they have to have everything, they have to be prepared for society, or they're not going to succeed. And the truth is, speaking from the professional standpoint, as well as from the standpoint of a parent, every child in the entire world right now is going to experience learning loss. It doesn't matter if you are at the highest echelon of society, you're the richest person in society, the poorest person, middle class, however. All children are experiencing some form of learning loss because COVID, this pandemic, has affected everyone. And so we really cannot stress ourselves about something that is completely out of our control. Educators, lawmakers, people in decision-making authority are all struggling through what are the right decisions right now to help families, students, workers all balance this out. And so there isn't a silver bullet or a perfect answer for any of this. And so we're all just trying to work through it. And so that means if you choose to do in-person school, or you choose to do at-home school, or you choose to pull your kids out of school completely, whatever choice you make for your family, that is the right choice. Whatever you need to do in order for this to work for your family right now, that is the right choice. And guess what? Here's what I believe. Our children are going to be okay. I know that this is difficult. I know that we are all working really hard to provide them the best. But they're going to be okay, and they are going to make it. And this is a trying time for us to look back, and we might say, hey, yeah, that dip that we saw in Johnny and needing to rise back up, that was because of COVID. And so, for the upcoming years when we can stabilize things better, now that's when we'll be able to see what are the inputs going to be in order for us to get the kids back on track. Now, there are a ton of resources out there. If you want to do something supplemental, and I'll say as a parent, that is not me. I am not there. I am not also, I work from home. I run a business. And thankfully I have dependable staff there, so I can do my other work, my education work at home, but I'm here with my children. So I had to start sending my youngest to my daycare, where he was at home with me before, but when they started, I cannot do all of that. So we're getting through the virtual school, working. My husband works outside of the home, and then the baby's at daycare. And then once we get through with that, like, we're done. I have to cook dinner and I have to do whatever else. But if you're really, really interested and you're saying, man, I'd like to pay for something a little extra, OutSchool is something that a friend of mine recommended. I've not subscribed or done anything with it yet, but there are a lot of classes and opportunities and experiences for kids if you wanted to go onto their website, OutSchool, and find out what various things you can tap into for your kids, everything from extracurricular to actual academic resources. And then you have sites like Epic and ABC Mouse. Those things are enriching if you want to do something extra with your children. We have been very blessed and fortunate that my kids do enjoy the virtual schooling. I don't. And I'm happy for them, right? But the reason I don't is because I do have to balance it out along with my schedule, and we're working through it. But I would much rather that they would be, in the school building right now, but that wasn't the safest choice I felt at this time. So they're enjoying it and they're working through it. And if your kids don't enjoy it, I don't think any parent should be pressuring their kid right now. You're gonna enjoy this virtual school. You're gonna, and everyone has to do the right thing in their home. But, you said something in the beginning about the social emotional aspect of this for children. Children experience stress. Children experience pressure. They can feel that. And so, Preston had his first meltdown. Preston is my 6-year-old. I have an 11-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 16-month-old. And so Preston had a meltdown. He could not draw this leaf his art teacher was trying to get him to draw. And he was just bawling and stressing. And I said, let me call Daddy, because literally I was in the middle of a meeting. He's like, no, Dad's going to be mad at me. I'm like, he's not. He's going to help you. I just need him to console you right now because I can't. And so he was like, okay. And I FaceTime his dad, I'm multitasking. I'm like doing this meeting and I'm like, here, take the phone. And his dad helped him out. And so we got through that. So I just want to encourage educators, parents, decision makers, do the best that you can, because we all are in this trying to work through it. There isn't a silver bullet. It is what choice that you make that is best for your family. But please, let's just pump the brakes for a little while. Everything's going to be okay, and we're going to make it through.
Wow, that's such, I think that's a refreshing sort of way to feel about this entire situation. And again, just to be patient with ourselves, right, as caregivers, as parents, as teachers in some instances, and, just practicing that patience with ourselves and knowing that we're going to get through this together is so important. So thank you so much for being honest and being transparent and sharing your experiences and, how you're kind of coping with what's happened with COVID and at home learning. So we appreciate you, Danielle. And then
Larissa,
yes,
just before you went on, I just wanted to say to Senator Chang, I remember when is that your son, daughter? Can you hear me? Oh, she
Yep.
can't hear me.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
hears.
was in your tummy. And I'm like, is that the same one? Like, how old is he again?
She.
She
Oh,
Yeah.
the oldest.
Two girls.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sonia, yeah.
5 and yeah.
5. Oh my goodness. I'm like, hi.
Sonia.
It's so big because I remember when she was in your tummy. And that time just flew so fast. Wow, beautiful. I just wanted to say that.
So cute. I think this is, I feel like this is showing our realities, right, in real time.
Oh,
Right,
you guys
there's
didn't
kids
hear
over
my
here.
15-year-old. Larissa, you didn't hear Adam. You just see me looking at her. That was
Heard
Adam
him earlier.
real loud, like, Mom. I'm like, not now.
That's what I literally just typed in the comments. This is like the weekday of the at-home school and working.
That's right. Right. This is it in real time, y'all. Next, we'll have a panelist who's a resident of the district, of the 13th Congressional District. She's a friend of the office. Actually, she's one of the persons that helped inspire this conversation. And we just thought it'd be important just to, I guess, again, create this sort of space where we can talk about and share ideas for how we're coping with COVID and virtual learning and, the new normal. So Bree.
Yeah, and before
Hi, everyone.
No, I need to let folks know how this came about. Brie'Ann, the first day of school, I see everybody posting various things, and there is Brie'Ann. I see her pictures of her beautiful daughter, Aubrey, and she shows literally a wall of the schedule and internet rules and everything. I don't know if Danielle saw this. And I thought to myself, oh my God, am I supposed to do that? Like, what is going on? No, you had to see it, and it was it was so beautifully done. And I thought to myself, oh my God, and I love hearing Danielle say, look, what you choose for your family is the right choice.
Right.
Thank you for saying that.
That's
but
right.
it did inspire me. Mine is not so pretty, Brie'Ann, but mine is a cardboard box I ripped, and I put Yusuf's schedule on it, and his little password and login and everything. Mine is not as good as yours. I wish there was a way to show them the image of this board. It looks like it belongs in a hallway in a school. It has the ABCs, the rules, all those kind of things. Yeah, you should share it. It's great. But anyways, thank you, Brie'Ann, because you inspired me to have this conversation, because I thought, wow, people need to hear from other moms, because I think it would inspire us and help support, again, this new challenge for us.
All right, Brie'Ann.
Well, thank you, Rashida. I feel like it wasn't that big of a deal, but I appreciate it. I do appreciate you guys inviting me on this, because I do think as moms, we all have different challenges, like listening to Stephanie and Rashida and Danielle, that with different roles that we all have. I mean, I was impressed Rashida had matching socks on. And, she's beating herself up, and I'm like, she's doing pretty good. And so I just think, it's important for us to kind of say it's okay, and whatever we're doing is good enough. And long as, they're up and you're doing your best, just don't be so hard on yourself. And, and I wrote down all these tips to share with everyone for today's conversation, but you guys really, said a lot of them, and a lot of it is emotional. We can put up the schedules and we can put up the behavior board, but the biggest challenge, at least for me, is like the emotional challenge, because you're at home with 2 kids. I have 2 kids. It's a 3-year-old, she's a 3-year-old, and then I have a 7-year-old. And so I only have 1 school-age child, which is a pro and a con. I don't know if I'd rather have 2 school-age children, but it's a challenge balancing, being in earshot of Aubrey and trying to catch up on, make sure she's on task, and, turning in all her homework. And then I'm dealing with the 3-year-old, making sure she's not falling behind or she's not bored and, she's not feeling ignored. So for me, that was a big challenge. And then, so one of the ways that I was working through this is I found myself feeling like I was missing the homework. I remember Danielle mentioned this. And so I started a group me with just the parents in our classroom. Because if you email the teacher and they don't respond, what are you supposed to do? You know, so I did start a group me with just the parents of the classroom. And so we share information amongst us, you know, even the little questions that we have, or did you understand this? Or, you know, depending on your age of your child, you may not know how to do their homework. I mean, fortunately, my daughter's only in second grade, so I'm okay. But, you know, just, you know, create these support networks during this time, because it's really all on you. I mean, you know, to make sure your child's on task. And so I created that learning board because my anxiousness from teaching at home came from how am I gonna work? And although I do have a flex, I'm more flexible than most. So I have a flexible schedule, but other parents don't. So the reason why I created the virtual learning board is because I wanted her to take accountability for her own homework, her own behavior. I wanted her to learn how to troubleshoot. You know, don't come every time, Mom, I got kicked out of my classroom. So we spend a lot of time just like troubleshooting, and because it's with COVID, it's a new environment with new expectations. And so now we have to work on troubleshooting technical issues, which I never thought would be important at her age. So yeah, so we just do that, and I have good days, and then we have, you know, harder days. But I do have to stop sometimes and say we're both dealing with our level of stress. She's dealing with not seeing her friends. She's dealing with being in one room all day, you know, and I know they recommend sitting in one spot for your child to learn. But I do like to allow Aubrey, if it's a nice day, to go outside with her computer because she's in the house all day. So I do make those minor adjustments just because it works for me, and her schedule that we put up, it works for us. So we just adjust every day. I do rely heavily on the other parents in the classroom. That helps with my emotional stress. And Rashida and the team all know that I'm really big on self-care, and I worry about you guys because you guys work so hard. But we need a 10-minute break too. So I make sure that I do have my coffee in the morning uninterrupted. Gabby's watching TV while Aubrey's in her first hour class, and I sit there and I don't think about homework and I don't think about uploading anything, and I have a cup of coffee. And you got to do something for yourself throughout this 8-hour day, because you're really working and you're basically back in school, back in elementary school. So it is tough, but we're getting through it. And you know, just don't be so hard on yourself. That's my best recommendation, is not be so hard on yourself.
Yes, Bree, that is so important to have that me time, you know, just to release some of that stress. And children need that me time. Like you said, they need their own little space to release as well. And that outdoor time just to stretch and play and run and release a lot of that tension that they have. So yes, you're so right about that.
And that's such a good segue into if folks have questions or want to share other sort of thoughts that are coming up as we're kind of talking about these really important tips. One of the first questions I want to pose to the panelists and to the group is, you know, how are you coping with, you know, your own stress or anxiety around virtual learning? I know I heard Bree talk about, you know, having that hour uninterrupted for coffee. Like, that's amazing. Like, I love that. And so I'm wondering if other folks have found other coping mechanisms for, you know, kind of managing not only your own mental health, but also maybe the mental health and emotional health of your students too. Rashida, you want to share?
I mean, so I know what sometimes helps my kids. with coping. I can tell you this. I think because I am empath, I think my kid, especially my eldest 15-year-old, I don't know, folks. I don't know how this stuff looks at folks, but there are kids like looking at us, so that's why we're all like googly eyed and happy. But I know when I'm stressed and have a lot of high-rise anxiety, Adam can always sense that, and so trying to really just talk things out. I mean, he's 15. He's a very woke 15-year-old, so he's very aware of what's going on. And so yesterday we even just had a conversation. Again, he's 15. You can have these conversations. If you know anything about my son, Adam, you can have these adult conversations, but we talked about gratitude and practicing gratitude. And this is my 15-year-old telling me, like, Mom, we got to practice gratitude, and it was so unbelievable. And I think with my little one, Danielle, I'm doing what you kind of suggested. I know he's behind. I can see it. And just giving him a break. I got him into, I know he has to read something that's required by the school, and that's fine. But I am, and I'll be honest, I am incentivizing him reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. So he is on his 3rd book now. And so, yes, you call it incentivizing, you can call it bribing, you can call it whatever you want. But I said, if you want this for Christmas, I need you to read these 5 books, and again, I told him, you get to pick, like, what do you want to do? And so I'm trying to make it as fun as possible, being flexible with my 9-year-old. And I loved when, Brie'Ann talked about being outside. He loves being outside. And maybe I would think, you saying that, Brie'Ann, kind of made me think, wow, I think Yusuf would actually enjoy it, because when it's time to sit down for the virtual, he gets a little anxious about it. For his English and math classes. And so trying to set something up in the backyard might be fun for him. And we do nature walks. Actually, the teacher recommended this, and we go around and we walk, and then we come back, and he's supposed to write about it, but he loves it. And again, it's optional, but I know I think the school is trying to make sure that kids are exposed to kind of being out there and doing all those things. And I lean a lot on I'm the eldest of 14. So I have 2 other sisters that I kind of lean on a lot to give me that break, so I'm not running to my car and hiding. I've done that once since the pandemic, but it was much needed. I didn't have my coffee, Brie'Ann, but and I think it's something that I know when have low anxiety, they thrive. So and they know when I'm happy and I'm doing well, I can tell that they're doing well as well. So
yeah, I agree with the outside piece. My kids, every day they have their first class at 9, and then Preston has a 50-minute break, and then Eugene has an hour break, and so they immediately use that break to go outside and play. Ride their bikes, or just get the sillies out and play basketball or whatever. That has really been instrumental for us. And now that it's getting a little colder, they're still going to do that, but probably won't spend as much time out there. The other thing is they're really enjoying having kind of their own spaces. So I'd originally set up the office for them both to be in there, but Eugene Jr. picked a space in the eat-in kitchen where he likes the backdrop of one of my pictures. So, they kind of let them have some independence and do their own things. Don't be too strict. The only thing I don't allow is for them to be in their bedroom, because I feel like, and for us, because some people have the actual office set up in their bedrooms, but we don't. Your beds are in there, you're not going to sleep, so at least you need to kind of, be in an open area or at a table or however, but I do let them have some flexibility. One of the things that I've found emotionally, if kids are getting picked on because it's virtual, there really isn't a traditional way of recourse and support. And as a helicopter mom, I kind of struggled with that because my oldest son, his name is Eugene, and there's a character on SpongeBob, Eugene the Crab. And so one of the kids like kept like in the comments, like he was saying this to him, like Eugene the Crab. And so I said, is this really bothering you? And so, you know, they're kids, they think it's funny or however, but it was bothering him because he didn't want to be called that. So like I typed in the comments and I'm like on his computer though. And I'm like, I said, I don't want to be called that, you know, stop doing that. And they stopped because I don't think he could articulate himself. And plus the teachers are not monitoring that. So that's kind of like an emotional, social thing too, because it's different. You don't get to be in school face to face to meet your friends and talk to them. And so, and also if someone's picking on you, you don't want to be the one like in the comments, like teacher, you know, someone's picking on me. So trying to be like that support for your child as well if those things are happening. He's in 6th grade. And so this is middle school stuff. Like this is normal. It's what happens. So trying to balance out being that support and not getting on that camera and like pointing at the kids like, don't mess with my baby. So I think it's just, you know, trying to have a balance, trying to be supportive, trying to let them have some independence and freedom combined with them learning as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a really great tip. Senator Chang, did you want to respond to that? It sounds like it looks like.
Oh yeah, I was just going to agree on the outside time. I mean, even before virtual kindergarten, we like during COVID, I've tried to go on a walk every day, or we would try to do sometimes 2 times a day. That was before, you know, that was when there was like no school happening. So, and we would actually, I have a good friend who lives on the next street over, and so my older daughter, she actually learned how to like help plant a garden, and it was really cool actually because she was able to learn like the whole process. Basically from start to finish, because you know now everything's out of the garden. So so that's been pretty cool actually. And then also just really helpful for me on the days when Sonia is at someone else's house to do virtual school and I have the baby, then I'll still always take her out every day. And it's nice, it's good for me to be able to get, especially like in between all the Zoom meetings and stuff, just to like get outside and get some fresh air. That really helps, especially when like there's a lot of like stressful things that we're talking about. So just to like echoing all of that. This is great, by the way. I'm so glad you're doing this event. This is so helpful.
I swear I'm getting more out of this than y'all think.
Well, I think that's what this space is for. I think just a moment, again, just to be transparent and honest. And I think just to be among, you know, folks that are experiencing the same thing, because I think we're all thinking it. And I think we all sometimes feel like we're alone and we're actually not.
And
so,
we're not,
yeah.
And I was just going to add to I said that I had 2 adult children. One is at home from college. So this is a different level of managing a child at home who is an adult, but still a child, right? In your house, and you have rules, and she's like used to being away at college and thinks she can come and go as she please. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. So this is a whole new level that I have to contend with because I just assumed that she would be back at school by now. And it's an interesting time for us. One that I have to like call my girlfriend and figure out how not to, you know, just how to stay calm, you know. So it's funny. It's funny. So if anyone has any suggestions on that, please let me know.
I think that's a whole nother beast in
Yeah.
itself, right, Commissioner?
is.
You have a
It
college
is.
age student, which is, I know, must be a proud feeling for yourself, knowing that you've gotten, one of your babies off to college. So I think this is segueing into another question, which kind of Danielle touched on it a little bit. But because folks are virtual learning, right, they're at home, where we have to think creatively about how we're communicating with others, right? Specifically like other students in the class or teachers or administrators. So I'm wondering if you guys, I know we talked about this a little bit earlier as one of the tips of, maybe starting those chat groups with other parents, but other tips for how we communicate successfully between our students and administrators for school to make sure, our students are getting the best and the support that they need. Any tips for that?
I actually have one because I kind of feel I used to be a former educator a while back, and I kind of sympathize with the teachers, so I always don't want to bother them. And because I'm trying to keep Aubrey on task and I'm trying to be perfect, this was in the beginning. And so I work in the field on Thursdays, and I'm freaking out like, oh my God, she's gonna miss class, and how am I gonna get her to her grandmother's on time? And then I stopped and I thought about it. I said, I'm just gonna tell the teacher we're gonna be late, and just letting the teacher know my schedule and what I'm doing right now, and the other kids in the house. I think they should have kind of an understanding of each household. And because maybe for us, when we're a little behind on homework, we turn it on Fridays. So now I think that the teachers know that if Aubrey doesn't have her homework done, okay, it'll be done by Friday. So I just think keeping them aware, because they don't know, it's everyone's first time. And so if you're not vocal about your needs as a family, they won't know, because I was talking to one of Aubrey's teacher who actually lives in the neighborhood. And I was like, we need half days on Fridays. And she said, okay, I'll think about it. I said, we need half days. And so they're working on that, hopefully. So just keeping that open line of communication, letting them know your individual situation at least once.
That's a great tip. Communicating what your needs are within your family, because every household is different. That's a really great point, Bree. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I heard over and over again, this is true. I have two parents in Yusuf school that I just chat with all the time. It's just, if there's a chat group, great. If there's a little clique that you can create. This is typical, even if we weren't really doing virtual schooling, but just kind of checking in on each other. And there was a bit of a COVID scare once, and just kind of leaning on each other, like even supporting the family during the time that they were trying to figure it all out. But yeah, I think, I really do think, having the back and forth. Some parents really know how busy I am. And, one parent will always say, you know what, I'll drop off Yusuf's stuff for you, no problem. And so just kind of able to create that kind of network and stuff, just like we used to do, some people carpooling, doing all that stuff, is being able to continue that effort even during this time.
Yeah, I echo what Brie'Ann said too around, and Congresswoman, one around communicating with the teacher. That's so important, because we've kind of missed a couple of things. There was there were some materials we needed to pick up, and I thought they were optional, but really they needed them for the lesson. And so the teacher got on there, and she was kind of like, oh, well, you can use this as a substitute, but they still have the information up there at the desk if you miss the time, and you can go and get it. And so when I found that out, I was relieved. So I'm like, okay, now I can go up there. But it's just, communicating and finding out what's going on, and if there are any other exceptions, because come on, they've got to be a little bit flexible with us right now. It's just not, I can't be everywhere at once. And then also there is a overall Facebook page for all parents who are in the virtual platform as opposed to going in person. And then there's also a Facebook page just for my child's class. And I found that to be helpful because there have been technological issues and like we couldn't get in or the teacher wasn't there, and come to find out everyone was experiencing it. So when you have those groups, you're not alone, you're not by yourself, just assuming you're the only one who can't get in. Well, this was one day where the teacher's power was out and we're like, are we not clicking the right button, or she's not in there? But I found out through the Facebook group, like I didn't receive an email. They said an email went out, I didn't get it. So just having, other people to talk to is really helpful, because if you're experiencing the problem, probably someone else is.
That's awesome. So we have just a couple minutes left. Bree, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry. Okay, no. Okay, it looks like an old hand. It does say, yeah, it does have your hand up. It's okay. Oh, she does.
I just wanted to chime in on I think I mentioned in the chat about the group me. I love that. And we have one too for our class, although not sure that everyone's on it, but anyway, but it's helpful. And honestly, there was like several days where it's like, I think we're maybe behind on homework, but then I don't want to ask the teacher. And then, but eventually I did, but I was like, maybe I'll just ask in this chat, and hopefully I'm not the only one. But it was helpful to be able to ask. And now I feel like, okay, I feel comfortable. We're all in different places. We're all just trying to do as the best we can. So I think it's okay if I just ask. And so I asked, and luckily someone knew what page we were supposed to be on. So just like, I feel like, and probably us putting out questions like that into those groups then also makes other parents feel like, okay, I can also ask those types of questions too, because we're all just doing the best we can.
That's right. Well, it's we're ending the near of this hour with you all. I want to give everyone an opportunity to share some closing thoughts or tips that families, moms, caregivers can walk away with. I think this conversation has been extremely, soothing, right? And as a reminder that, again, there's people that are experiencing the same sort of issues or challenges or, happy moments even too during this time. So if we can just maybe share some parting thoughts, maybe let's start with Danielle. Do you want to share some parting thoughts?
Sure. I think I'll just go back to what I said earlier, because I really don't have anything more sophisticated to say, is that we're all going to get through it, and we're all doing the best we can, and whatever choice you make for your family, that is the right choice. Don't let what you see someone else showing that they're doing or however cloud, your senses. Because if we try and, compete with what someone else is doing, that might not be what's good for your family. So just do what you can, and we're going to get through it. And I'm praying that 21 is going to be better.
Bree, you want to share some final thoughts?
When I think about this time and how I think we're just like going through the motions of it, during COVID, that, we just have to kind of sit back and, let things happen, and just make sure, take care of yourself as a mother or a parent, because, there's a lot of men out here that I've chatted with down in the background of their kids' computers, but just that you take time for yourself, because if you're not functioning at 100%, your kids won't be. And, I know we all agree that, they do see it and they do feel it, they can tell, oh, mom's in a good mood, and, and and you have a better day. We go on walks, and, I think you can be a little more innovative and creative when you have a clear mind, and that you're taking care of yourself, and, just not letting it overwhelm you. Because if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. No one's gonna die.
Thank you, Brie'Ann. Commissioner?
Yes, I would say basically echoing what Brie'Ann just said. You gotta do you sometimes. You gotta take the time out for yourself, relax, have a glass of wine or whatever you do to come down. You have to do that. That is important. Your health is important. Try to eat right. Exercise, all of those things to release the stress that can literally kill us. And if we don't take care of us, we can't take care of our children. And so that is the most important thing, is take care of you.
Thank you so much. Senator Chang?
Just echoing others. Well, first of all, thank you again so much for putting this event together. And yes, we are going to get through this, and 2021 will be better. I mean, it has to be. Like, I don't know how it could possibly be worse. So it's going to be better. And, you know, I feel like that saying, it takes a village to raise a child, has been never truer than this year and in the past few months. So that I know it's definitely true for me. I'm so grateful to all the people who make it possible for my children to, like, you know, live, and then also, and then for me to be able to work as well. So it's been a challenge, but you know, we are all resilient. And one of the things that I think is really cool is that I feel like this whole time has allowed all of us to sort of like learn things about ourselves too, and also our friends. Like, it's been really cool seeing amazing ideas from other moms that they've done to enhance their children's learning, and I feel like we're all better if we like exchange those ideas and learn from each other and are vulnerable and ask questions like we have been on this event. So thanks again.
Thank you, Senator Chang. And Congresswoman Tlaib will give you parting remarks.
Oh, and I didn't thank you, Congresswoman, too. I meant to say that. Thank you for putting this together, because this was.
No, thank you for agreeing to do it. I came to you weeks ago about it, and you're like, yeah. We got to do something for moms.
Yes,
I do want to thank all of you so much, and for all those that are listening. You know, all of our doors are open to you and supporting you. I think myself and Commissioner McCormick and Senator Chang will all agree that our doors are open to you if there's anything that we can do to help support you during this time. I do want to leave with parting words of, you know, my 15-year-old son who said, practice gratitude, because I can tell you, as someone that was, you know, majority of the time, I am living between Washington, D.C. and here. When I'm away from my babies, that guilt that you may feel just going to work, like, you know, a few miles away or anything, it was even much more heavier on me when I took on this role. And I can tell you, if anything, this pandemic has allowed me to be home, and I'm blessed and should be, you know, I'm grateful that I can actually be home and be with my kids while I do all of this. So practicing gratitude and knowing that all these blessings around us are things that may be able to help us get through the days. Even though he's screaming right now, that's my 9-year-old playing with his cousins. But yeah, and again, you know, I love everything everyone said. I think at the long run, all of us are saying the same thing, which is we got to do what is best for our family, and that it doesn't have to be perfect, and that it takes a lot of other folks helping support us, and that's okay. And so I'm really grateful for all of that. And of course, Brie'Ann always centering us on self-care. Really, I think, grateful. But please know we're going to put our phone number in the chat. If you all need anything in our email, do please reach out and do share this. We'll be resharing this town hall again. Share it with other moms if you think it's helpful. We'll also be doing other kinds of town halls that are similar. I think next one might be around other areas, but again, it's going to be around trying to support people as much as we can again during this pandemic. Thank you all. Please be safe. Please, again, know you're not alone and that you have a tremendous amount of support and all. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Bye.
rocking it,
Bye.
Rashida.
Bye.
Everyone, thank you.
Bye. Thank you
Bye.
all.